of Taiwan, I'm Yvonne. Thanks for joining us. A Taiwanese businessman is facing charges for importing Chinese chili powder tainted with toxic dye, just the latest in a growing food safety scandal in the country. John Van Trieste looks at how this case has affected the Taiwanese public.
Recalls, police searches, and possible charges. A scandal over tainted chili powder from China is cooking up trouble across the country. Kaohsiung prosecutors have released businessman Li Yanting on a $25,000 bond and stripped his companies of their license to handle food products. They say Li knowingly sold chili powder mixed with cancer-causing red dyes banned in Taiwan. But the scandal has stirred up far more than legal troubles. Public alarm reached the point where all chili pepper is suspect.
我有时候搞不好会把它丢掉了，然后我大概就觉得不会吃，尽量最近都不会吃，以后可能也不会吃吧。
就是会用那个生辣椒切来炒菜啊，或是配料还 OK， 化学的或那些工业的我就不再用了。
It's forcing restaurants that rely on spicy food to make choices. Some eateries hope certificates of safety will reassure diners, but others have been forced to take their best sellers off the menu.
麻辣锅，还有我们用卤酱去卤的那个鸭血，还有加辣的部分我们就停止。
Demand for domestic chili has tanked, with prices falling by about a third from where they were last year. Taiwan is a country where unease about food safety is frequently in the headlines. Memories of a 2013 to 2014 tainted cooking oil scandal are still fresh. And more recent controversies about U.S. pork containing leanness-enhancing additives and Japanese food products contaminated by the Fukushima nuclear disaster have left a bad taste in people's mouths. The newest scandal over chili powder and its effects on consumer behavior show that the public is still not willing to stomach concerns over food safety. Chen Chien and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Government officials in Taiwan are keeping quiet about Vice President-elect Kim Hsiao's trip overseas. Hsiao is reportedly visiting friends and family in the United States. While exact details of the trip have not been disclosed, she is expected to make stops in Washington, D.C. and Europe before returning to Taiwan later this month. Before being elected in January, Hsiao served as Taiwan's representative to the United States for 3 years. U.S. President Joe Biden has requested a 1% increase in the country's defense budget, with $100 million dedicated to military financing for Taiwan. That money would be for military training and weapons systems specifically for Taiwan's defense. The proposed budget now sits at $895 billion, much less than the estimated $929 billion the U.S. would need to continue operating at current strength. Many are concerned that the budget is too low due to a 1% increase cap made by lawmakers in 2023, which officials say is not enough to even offset inflation. This budget is not final and will be reviewed later this year. Victims of state violence during Taiwan's martial law era are calling for the establishment of a memorial day. In the period known as the White Terror, hundreds of thousands were imprisoned, tortured and killed for opposing the authoritarian government. Rick Glauer has more.
80-year-old Chen Chien used to teach in this junior high school, and being back reawakens painful memories. It was the 70s and Taiwan was under martial law. Chen was accused of making anti-nationalist comments in class. He was jailed for nearly 5 years. Now he's calling for a day to remember the victims of political oppression under Taiwan's period of authoritarian rule.
个体层面的事情，或许我们可以不必计较，事关社会集体的大事，却必须要诚恳地正视、认知、反省，不能遗忘。
The era of oppression, known here as White Terror, lasted 43 years from 1949. Taiwan's nationalist government, headed by dictator Chiang Kai-shek, targeted those they saw as opposing their rule, killing thousands of people and imprisoning more than 100,000.
But if people don't feel recognized and the stories are ignored and even starting to be forgotten, especially as the generation that lived those stories are passing, then I think then there's going to be still a lot of unresolved feelings of pain and hurt in that society.
Since democratization, Taiwan's leaders have made efforts to right the wrongs of the country's authoritarian past. In a process known as transitional justice, the current government has exonerated 6,000 political prisoners, redistributed ill-gotten gains, and given tens of millions of US dollars in compensation. Every year, on the 28th of February, Taiwan marks the uprising that prompted the installation of martial law, as a way to honour the historical turning point for the country's democracy. But some groups here say the victims of white terror should be remembered separately, on the 19th of May, the day martial law was implemented, as a way to make sure future generations do not forget the struggles Taiwan's people went through for the country's freedom.
受迫害的这些前辈们，要给他们一个历史的交代，绝对不能让他们来白白牺牲。
Taiwan's President-elect said his new government will do more to atone for the white terror bloodshed and endeavour to restore victims' honour. For those who bore the brunt of that state violence, having a distinct day to commemorate their suffering would help ensure that future generations here understand the cost of freedom. Klein Wong and Rick Lauert for TaiwanPlus.
An 84-year-old Japanese woman is visiting her birthplace in southern Taiwan, fulfilling a dream she's had for decades. She's walking down memory lane and showing her son their family's roots. Joyson has the story.
The sweet taste of home. 84-year-old Kuzushiba Nobuko is moved to tears tasting Taiwanese sugar that she last ate more than 7 decades ago. Kuzushiba was born in Taiwan in 1941 and remembers playing at a sugar factory in Yunnan County, which was next to her grandfather's house. Her first 2 trips here, Kuzushiba couldn't locate the places she remembered. But third time's the charm. She's finally walking down memory lane along with her son and welcomed by the boss of the sugar factory she remembers so well.
昨天来这边吃到第一次的 这个他就想到那时候的Hsiao就是幸福感。他说那时候是最幸福的时候。
Kuzushiba is a second-generation Wansei, a term referring to Japanese people born in Taiwan under Japanese colonial rule. She and her family returned to Japan at the end of World War II. Her grandparents, she says, made a living running a pharmacy here. Their shop's painted sign is still there on the wall.
他都非常讲不出的开心呐，他一直的梦想终于今天能够实现了从4岁回到他现在他84岁嘛。
Kuzushiba's also dug out some old photos of her mother on this trip while visiting her mother's high school. Reliving precious memories, Kuzushiba says the 2 years she spent in Yunlin were the happiest time of her life and feels grateful to be experiencing a sweet taste of her childhood once more. Andy Xue and Joyce Zhen for TaiwanPlus.
A temple in Tainan in southern Taiwan has held a parade to mark the beginning of its Kimbo Festival. Devotees carried an 8-meter paper ship through the city streets to be set alight for a ceremony. The Kimbo Festival began with early Han Chinese settlers in Taiwan who blamed epidemics on evil spirits. They will burn plague demon effigies on boats made of paper and grass in a ritual that was thought to expel disease. Though Taiwan has come a long way with its healthcare, many see value in keeping this tradition alive.
这道龙年嘛，也在这个疫情的后面尾端，所以12分王的交代讲，咱这道王船开工了出场，要出来台南市安尼行一日啊，有咱民众来吊拜，王船呢来祝福，甲这无形的嘛收转去安尼。
One more Taiwanese boxer is headed for the Olympics. Chen Chien punched her ticket to Paris 2024 after beating Ukrainian opponent Anastasia Chernokolenko at a qualifying tournament in Italy. Chen won by unanimous decision after 3 rounds. Paris will be Chen's 3rd time at the Olympics. She is the 5th boxer from Taiwan to qualify for this year's Games. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, check out these world-class surfers gathering at the Rip Curl Pro Portugal event. I'm Yvonne Yang. Take care. I'll see you next time.